Hi, in this video we're going to be trying to fix up this Focal Dome Active Subwoofer. So if you recall, Alan sent me this, and what he said was when you switch it on, you just get a little brief flash on the power light there, and then that's pretty much it. It just doesn't do anything else. So I'm going to grab the dim bulb tester, and we'll plug it in and we'll just see what it's doing. So I'm going to use the dim bulb tester, which is just an incandescent light bulb wired in series with the power socket here. Just in case this has got a short or something on it, all it'll do will make the bulb light up instead of everything blowing up. So let's just try switching it on. Well, I did hear the amp power up for a second there. I did hear like a thud on the speaker. Well, that's about it. And then it won't switch on again after that. You've got to wait for the capacitors to discharge, and then it'll switch back on, the light will power up for a second, and then that's about it. So I think we've got some kind of short going on in here. So I'll disconnect the power lead, we'll get this dim bulb tester out of the way, and then we'll see how it comes apart. Now, Alan said he's already been into this to have a quick look, but he couldn't really see anything obvious, so to get it apart, it looks like we need to remove, I think there's about 6 screws around the outside here, so let's just do that. I'm just being careful not to puncture the speaker, which wouldn't be good. And this thing's quite heavy. It's actually made out of solid aluminium or aluminum for our American viewers. I think he said this part just detaches. And there we go. Right, let's try and move this part forward a little bit. And it looks like we're going to unplug it from this connection here. So I'm just going to carefully try and unplug that. And then we have a control wire here. Right. I'll just get this part out of the way. I'll just be careful touching this, just in case it's got any charge in the capacitors. Now what I can see is a lot of this glue stuff here, which is the glue that sort of dries out and goes conductive. I see I've run into this stuff before. I think it was on a JVC amplifier sort of system that I looked at, and it caused lots of damage. Because it goes corrosive and actually destroys the tracks on the board. So it might be better removing that and putting something like some silicone or something on instead. So just to make it a little bit easier to work on, it looks like we can disconnect the speaker, which goes to these two connections here. And then it looks like we can undo these nuts that hold this board in place, and then hopefully we'll be able to get to the back of the board and have a look at that. These got the little tab things on. And maybe better removing this from the speaker end actually. Let's just have a look. Those just, I've got those little clips on that you press in, and then you can just undo them from the speaker here. So just unplug those. Now it looks like we need to undo these 6 nuts that hold this board in place. Back with a little 5.5mm nut driver. Right, I'll just get this speaker out of the way. And I'll just zoom down a little bit on this. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just to check to see if there's any voltage in these capacitors here. So let's get the test meter in shot and we'll go on to volts DC. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's just see if we've got any output caps. Right, so that looks safe to work on. Right, let's just have a look, see if we can see anything obvious then. Now, I don't know if that resistor there looks a bit discoloured. It's a bit hard to tell with the light. It might just be that's the way it's supposed to be, but it just looks a little bit dark, that. Might actually be alright. It might just be the way the light's shining on it. We've got a couple of voltage regulators there. So we've got a 7815, which is a 15 volt positive voltage regulator, and a 7915, which is a minus 15 volt regulator. I think he chipped a little bit of the glue off that was here. Looks like he might have taken a little bit of the trace off there. That doesn't look like it's going to cause any damage though. We've got a nice splattering of that corrosive glue around here. Let's just have a look on the other side of the board. I mean, I can't see anything that looks blown or anything. I can't see any signs of damage or anything on this, so... So, we've got a bridge rectifier here. And then it looks like we've got 2 main smoothing caps. Looks like we've got 2 MOSFETs here, which I guess are controlled from this PCB here by the look of it. Let's just flip that back over. Yeah, it looks like that controls the 2 MOSFETs there. I'm just wondering if these are the amplifier transistors over here and here. Yeah, they must be, because that was one of the speaker terminals. I'll just zoom out a little bit there, but you can see I've got them both in shot. So these look like the output driver transistors. And I guess all the rest of the stuff over here are just things like tone and bass or whatever, or filtering. So there's actually a great deal in this. Well, because it hasn't blown up, I'm just wondering whether the problem's on the output side. So I think I might start just by checking these transistors here and here. I want to check the diodes on the output of the power supply as well, just to see if there's a short. Right, so let's just get the meter back in shot there. I'm just going to diode check. So those seem okay. Let's just have a look at these transistors or whatever they are. Well, I'm not getting any shorts on there. I'm just wondering whether these might be MOSFETs. I'm not getting like the normal readings I would expect. But I'm getting like a diode reading across those two. Maybe the diode further in the circuit or something, I don't know. Let's just try this one. Well, I'm not getting any shorts. Right, well, we might have something going on here. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Yeah, we shouldn't be getting an almost short across there. So it looks like the problem might be around here somewhere. I'm surprised this hasn't blew up then. So where does that go to? I can't quite see for the heatsink. But it looks like it might go to that board where it looked like that resistor was discoloured. So I don't know whether to take this little board out and we'll just have a look over that. So what I might do is put some low melt solder on these pins here. And then we'll see if we can remove this little subboard here. Right, so just going to move the meter out of the way. I'm just going to put some flux on this first. And then we'll put some low melt solder on it. Well, that doesn't seem to want to budge. was just checking to see if it's glued in or anything, but it doesn't appear to be. Right, got it out. Let's get rid of this bits of solder and we'll clean these holes up. Let's get that one with the solder sucker, I think. Yeah, looks like that very end hole isn't that clear. I might have to have a look at that one just at the end there. It's a bit hard to see, but it doesn't look quite clear, so all the rest of them look okay. Right, so let's have a look at this. Actually, let's test those MOSFETs now. Let's see if we've still got that short. That might just be because I switched the MOSFET on there. Well, we don't seem to have a short there now. Right, let's have a look on this little board then. They're a weird coloured... Oh, actually, what's this? Yeah, look. Something gone on there. I might get this under the microscope so we've got a bit better light. Let's get the microscope hooked up. Right, let's have a look over this board then. So it looks like we've got a resistor there that's been getting hot, and the one here. I'm not sure what values those are. Looks a bit hard to make out. Those ones actually look okay, but whether or not they measure alright is another thing. I don't know whether that's a diode here or not. Actually, maybe a TVS diode because it's got a black mark either side. So let's just see if we get any readings on this resistor. It looks a bit fatigued as well, the solder joint around there. So we're getting about 220 or 230 ohms on that one. And we're getting about 400 on that one. Looks like that one possibly might have been replaced previously or something. Looks like something's gone on here. That's definitely different solder to the rest of it. Let's check this transistor. Yeah, seems okay. Yeah. So that looks like our short. It looks like that diode there, and that's probably the reason why this resistor's burnt. Let's just check this diode up here. That one's okay. Let's just check these two resistors, see if they're the same value. Now, I'm not sure what value these are supposed to be, but it looks like they could do with being replaced. And it looks like we're going to need this diode here, whatever it is. Well, I can see a number on it, 245B. And it's got Z2 on it there. So it looks like a Zener diode. Right, let's desolder that. And again, you can see where the solder's started to fatigue there as well. I'm just going to add some fresh leaded solder to this first. Actually, might try some solder wick on there with a little bit of flux. Let's put a bit of flux on and we'll use a bit of solder wick, I think. So I'll go a little bit on that side. So it's just got 245B written on it. I'll have to see if I can look that up and see exactly what that is. Right, I'm back momentarily. It's been a couple of days and some new parts have arrived, but what I managed to find online is somebody put a picture of this board on and they had marked out all of the components and all the values. This seems to be used in a different amplifier as well. So what this little board does, it actually oscillates the two MOSFETs here, and that's what makes the power supply work. So instead of using an IC, they've got this little board here. So I'll just zoom down a bit so you can see. So those two resistors that are burnt out here and here, they actually measure okay. There should be 392 ohms. So, I mean, I'm going to replace them in any way. We'll just get the meter in shot here. I'll just go on to resistance. And if we just measure one of them, so I've got 393. 393. So they actually measure in spec. We've got two diodes here that go to the gates of these MOSFETs, and one of them was shorted, which is the one that I've already removed. But I thought, well, I'll just replace both of them because they're both the same anyway. And I thought I'll change the MOSFETs as well, even though they measure okay as well. But I thought, well, while I'm on, we'll try and do a bit of preventative maintenance, because the MOSFETs failing on these is a common problem as well. I'll just zoom out a little bit. I'll just get the DC 55 that I repaired in a previous video up. I'll just connect up one of these MOSFETs here. Let's see in there, it's an N-channel MOSFET. It's telling us the pin out. So that one's working okay. I'll just put it onto the next one. And we'll just do the same again. We can see both of those are actually okay. Like I said, I'm just going to change them in any case, just for preventative maintenance. And I've got the two new diodes here. Now this doesn't actually tell us what voltage the Zener diode is, but Peak do a meter that does that. This is just a general component test of this one. Right, so get this out of the way. Right, so I'm going to tackle this little subboard first. I'm just going to onto the microscope. I'll just take this other diode out. I'll just pop a new one in. And we'll just do the same for this one. Right, I'll get them soldered up. I thought that one might have moved. Just going to pop that one back down a bit. Right, we'll just snip off the legs. Right, we've got the two resistors to change now. And the resistors have got slightly bigger than the originals. And again, we'll just snip the legs off. And I'll just give that a bit of a clean up with some IPA and a toothbrush. Looks like the paint started to come off the PCB there with the heat. The PCB's not the best quality. I just thought I'd run over all of the joints just with the soldering iron there, just in case there was any bad connections. But this board is horrible. You can see where the green has just started all coming off. That's just with the soldering iron. It's just all started flaking off. Now I know somebody was selling replacement boards of these, and now I think I understand why. There's not type of PCB they've used, but it's horrible. Well, I think that should be okay. So I've resoldered all of those as well. They look a lot better. So, right, on to the next bit. I've just finished swapping the MOSFETs over. That's the old ones there. I mean, they're still good, but like I say, I thought I'd just swap them in any case. You try and get this heatsink back in here now. That's it. Just didn't want to go in there for a moment. I've got to try and get this nut on now. Right, that's the MOSFETs in place, and I've put the little sub board back in there as well. We'll just solder these up. Typical, isn't it? Right, let's try that again. I'm just going to check that that board's secure. Right, I think that'll do for that. I've used the ESR 70 Gold and I've checked all of the capacitors and all those seem fine. And what I've also done is try to remove some of this glue that goes hard and conductive. So I've tried to remove that where it touches any metal or any components on the circuit board. So we should just be ready to put this back together now, I think. I'll just zoom out a little bit. I'll just get the base of it, which is the big speaker thing here. And I need to bolt that back onto there. Right, so I'll quickly get all of these bolts in. Right, just the top to go back on now then. It's quite heavy, this thing. Try and connect these connectors back together. And then there's this plug to plug in for the power board, which just the control board up the top here. Right, screws to go back in now then. Right, so we'll grab a power lead. Right, let's move the meter out of the way. I'm going to get the dim bulb tester again. Zoom out a little bit. Right, let's plug this in. Let's see what it does now then. Well, we've got a light on. And it hasn't gone off. Right, I need to get some audio now then and try feeding some audio into it. Right, I'll just go and sort that out. Right, back with phone and some audio. So let's just plug this in. Actually, I'll turn the volume down first, just in case this is quite loud. I'll just switch it back on. Obviously, this is just a sub, so you're not going to get any top end. You're just going to get the bass. So. Well, it appears to be working. Might have been better with a bit of music, with a bit of bass, I think, though. But because of YouTube copyright, it's a bit awkward to do that. But I think that's it. I'll just stop this. Sorry, Vince. But yes, I think that's it. I think that's it all working now. Like I say, the power light's staying on. It's playing audio. So I think we'll call this one a fix then. Right then. If you enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.